That's right, I'm back and I'm in this shirt, which can only mean one thing. It's time for more sea shanties. This one, farewell and adieu to you, Spanish ladies. Farewell and adieu to you, ladies of Spain. For we've received orders where to sail for old England. But I hope very soon we shall see you again. That's right, Spanish Ladies, a classic. Now, this song is a song from the British Navy. Now, why would the Brits be leaving Spain besides the fact that they own Gibraltar? Well, for this, it is recalling events or related to events of the War of the First Coalition against revolutionary France, in which Spain was allied with Britain against France. So these were British ships bringing supply runs, as Britain fought a lot of the Napoleonic Wars economically by giving a lot of supplies to allies. So between 1793 and 1796, the War of the First Coalition took place. In this war, the British sent supplies to Spain, and the sailors met Spanish ladies, and yet they were sad when they had to leave. This song was first recorded in the logbook of the HMS Nelly. However, there is an earlier song referred to as Spanish Ladies, but this most likely was an entirely different song. It just happened to have the same name. Okay, with that out of the way, I'm ready to go on to the actual lyrics, beginning with the chorus. I will not be singing, or at least attempting not to sing. I love shanties, it's hard to stop the singing, but I apparently suck at singing and can't hold a note to save my life, and I'm bad at it, just in general. So that, out of the way, we'll rant and we'll roar like true British sailors, which, sailors partying and such. We'll rant and we'll roar across the salt seas. They're sailing on the seas. Until we strike soundings in the channel of Old England. The channel. The soundings would be checking of your location based on depth, amongst other things. If you want more information on sounding, I recommend going to Brandon F's video, Guiding a Revolution, George Washington's Geographers, to the section entitled Measuring Difficult Terrains. If you want more information than that, I recommend going to the subreddit r/sounding. From Ushant to Scilly, it's 35 leagues. So, Ushant is an island off the coast of Brittany here, and Scilly is an island off the coast of Britain. The actual distance between these two is 33 leagues, but that just doesn't fit now, does it? Now, you may be wondering why, if they're at Ushant, they go up to Scilly. Well, because Britain and France are at war, and you don't want to hug your opponent's coast. You want to hug your own coast. Also, there's sunlight. I'm going to try and keep filming. Hopefully, there's not going to be too much glare. So, next, we hove our ship to with a wind at southwest, boys. Southwest being southwest. They have a southwesterly wind. We hove our ship to, our soundings to sea. They did the soundings. We rounded and sounded. Once it's just checking your course. Got 45 fathoms, which is the depth they should be at. We squared our main yard, and up channel went we. So once they got to Scilly, they went up the channel. Next, it repeats the chorus. Now we get to the part that I'm actually kind of disappointed in now that I've looked up the lyrics, because it sounds really cool if you know none of the context, but once you know it, it's incredibly boring. So get ready for boring. Now, the first land we made was called the Dead Man, which I thought sounded cool. It's talking about Dodman Lighthouse, which was often referred to as Deadman's Lighthouse. So it's just navigation. Next, Ramhead off Plymouth, Ramhead. Off Portland the White. Portland the White here is here. Now you may be wondering why I skipped over this one. Some versions have start point in there, but others don't. Others go straight from Ramhead to Portland. We sailed then by Beachy. Oh, sorry, off Portland and White. So Portland here, then the Isle of Wight here. We sailed then by Beachy, which is Beachy Head Light. Off Fairley, and Dungeness. Dungeness is here. Till we came abreast of the South Foreland Light. South Foreland Light is here, and as you can see, that brings you to where you can easily get to London. So they're just sailing the entire southern coast of England, which it sounds really great in the song until you actually look it up, and it's just, here's some places along the southern English coast. It's just boring at that point, which is disappointing. But, those are the lyrics. Once again, it then repeats the chorus, and then the next verse. Then the signal was made for the Grand Fleet to anchor. They anchor. All in the Downs that night for to lie. So they stay in the Downs, which is this area off Kent right here. Next, I should clarify, it then immediately goes to the next morning as they anchored for the night. But then the next verse is, then it's stand by your stoppers, see clear your shank painters, haul up your clue garnets, let tacks and sheets fly. So I put two together because they're related. If there was any terminology you didn't know there, that's because it was referring to a line. A line, of course, being a rope, because there isn't rope on a ship, there's lines. I may have mentioned, I've sailed before. Geez, that sounds getting bad. I've sailed before. However, the largest ship I sailed was, I want to say, 35 feet. So, definitely different beasts altogether. Triangular sails versus triangular and square sails. However, I still know the terminology for this. Your stoppers, that is a securing line. See clear your shank painters. Those are the lines you would use to hold up an anchor lashed to the side. A clue garnet, the clue is a hole on the bottom of the sail that you attach a line to, the garnet. Tacks and sheets are different types of line as well. So, stand by your stoppers. Watch out for those lines. See clear your shank painters. Make sure that the line that is lashing the anchor to the ship is clear. You're not going to trip on anything. Haul all your clue garnets. Move those. Let tacks and sheets fly. You want everything up. You want to pull everything, be ready, and they're off to sail. That's all it is. They're sailing again. I cannot stress how disappointed I am the research I do in this song. It is such a banger, and yet it's so boring from, hey guys, we went from west to east. We went from west to east. To, hey guys, after we anchored, we then sailed again. It's just boring. And then the chorus again. And then, really hard to not sing for this part. Now let every man toss off a full bumper, this being a bumper, and let every man drink of a full glass, being a glass. We'll drink and be merry and drown melancholy. They're sailors, they're drinking and being happy because they're at shore again. Singing, here's to good health to each true-hearted lass. Hoping that their Spanish ladies will be true-hearted, remain loyal to them as they hope one day to return. Speaking of returning, this song was then taken up again in the Peninsular War, which, once again, Britain helped Spain, doing a bit more help this time as Spain didn't have much of an army left. It did have an army. I want to clarify, I am not going to lessen the achievements of the Spanish and Portuguese in the Peninsular War. However, there was a lot of British help, and in fact, often Portuguese and Spanish units were, well, actually more often Portuguese. The Spanish, very complicated, but they were often under British command. So it got taken up again then, and then by 1840, Captain Frederick Morat, I could be pronouncing that wrong, reported in a book of shanties that this particular song was almost forgotten. And there was a revival after. He really wanted it. He thought it was an old gem that really deserved to be heard. And it's largely due to him spreading the word of this song that it gained popularity again. Plus, it's been included in a lot of media, some of which it shouldn't have been. For example, I mentioned it was sung in turn, which takes place during the American Revolution, which takes place before the Napoleonic Wars. It's also been in other things like Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which takes place during the Golden Age of Piracy, which was before the Napoleonic Wars again. See, the problem is a lot of early shanties are gone. And so we have later shanties, and we want to have a shanty, so we put it in too early. And so you sacrifice historical accuracy for historical feeling. Like, it feels old-timey, but it's not really. I mean, old-timey, yeah, but it's not the right old time. Let's do an analogy here. So, let's say you wanted to show that it was the 90s, the early 90s, and you reflect that by playing a song by LMFAO. If it's done in the movie in the distant future, it might make sense. They might be like, oh yeah, that was 200 years ago-ish, that's fine. But it would make no sense to the people there. So, not really a rant on historical authenticity. I like to tie that in. I like to mention, hey guys, I'm not creating a multi-million-dollar budget movie. I'm ranting to my phone. Do better when you're making a big thing. In case anyone cares, the delays were partially caused by me turning this room in my over 100-year-old house into this room. Ooh, pretty. I also had the first boil of the year.
Boiling well.
Yeah. I know you guys probably don't care, but I just felt like sharing. Hopefully the next video will be St. Patrick related, but no promises. I have a feeling that I'm going to get busy again. Anyway, I'm off to go rant and roar like a true British sailor.